This is not really a benchmark paper. At first glance, it looks like one. Bigger scores, stronger model, more capability. But if you read Anthropic's own material carefully, the real story is different. This is a story about what happens when a model becomes so strong that the company who's building it has to change how it releases it. So if this is not a normal model update, what exactly changed? Anthropic says Mythos is a major capability jump across software engineering, reasoning, computer use, research assistance, and knowledge work. But the first signal that really matters is not the benchmark table. It is the release decision itself. Anthropic did not broadly release Mythos. Instead, it limited access to vetted partners like Google, Nvidia, etc. for defensive cybersecurity use. If Anthropic changed the release model, what forced that decision? That is where Project Glasswing comes in. Anthropic says Mythos became strong enough in cybersecurity that it did not want to release it to the wider audiences. So instead, it created Glasswing to use those capabilities on defense-first approach. In Glasswing, what Anthropic is saying is we have seen enough already that we want these capabilities helping defend us before they spread more widely. So what does strong enough in cyber actually mean? Anthropic says Mythos is a step change in vulnerability discovery and exploitation. In simple terms, what that means is the model is no longer just writing code well. It can inspect software, identify weaknesses, judge which weaknesses are actually usable, and often turn them into a working attack paths. And Glasswing makes that even more concrete. Anthropic says Mythos has already found thousands of high severity vulnerabilities, including issues in every major operating system and every major web browser. That still sounds abstract. So what did Anthropic actually show? The system code says Mythos was the first model to solve one private cyber range end to end. It also says Mythos solved a corporate network attack simulation that estimated to take an expert for more than 10 hours. That matters because it's not just one isolated trick anymore. It means the model can chain steps together, find an opening, move deeper into a network, use one weakness to gain more access, and keep going until it reaches the target. And then there is the Firefox example. Anthropic says Mythos could reliably identify the most exploitable browser bugs and leverage 4 distinct bugs to achieve code execution, while Opus 4.6 could only leverage 1, and even that was unreliable. Glasswing adds 3 more examples to that. A 27-year-old OpenBSD vulnerability, a 16-year-old FFmpeg vulnerability, and a chain of Linux kernel issues that escalated from ordinary user access to full control. Once you see examples like that, the next question becomes, are old benchmarks even enough anymore? Anthropic itself says older evaluation logic is starting to break. In cyber especially, older benchmarks are saturating. In AI R&T, many older tasks are saturating. And in the capability chapter, Anthropic even omits MMMU Pro because the contamination is too hard to estimate clearly. That is a very important signal. The question is no longer just, did the model beat benchmark X? The question is now, what can the model actually do inside realistic systems? And that leads to the bigger point. Mythos is not just strong in one area. It shows the benchmark table still matters as context. It shows that Mythos is strong across multiple kinds of work at the same time. Anthropic reports SW Bench verified 93.9%, SW Bench Pro 77.8%, Terminal Bench 2.4 82%, GPQA Diamond is 94.5%, MMMLU is 92.7%, OS World is 79.6%. So this is not just a coding model anymore. It is strong in combinations, reasoning, tools, code, and computer use together. So did Anthropic think it crossed the worst risk lines? This is where the responsible scaling policy or RSP matters. At a high level, RSP is Anthropic's frontier risk rulebook. Its framework for deciding whether a model has become dangerous enough in certain areas that stronger safeguards or a different release strategy is needed. And under that framework, Anthropic says the strongest catastrophic thresholds were not crossed. But it also says confidence is lower than for any prior model. So the message is not everything is fine, and it is not catastrophe is already here. It is the model clearly stronger, the safety margin feels thinner, and cyber was in serious enough that Anthropic still changed how it released the model. Now, if Anthropic says the worst thresholds were not crossed, then why does the paper still feel so serious? The answer is the alignment paradox. Anthropic says Mythos is its best aligned released model by most measured dimensions. Misuse success rates fell by more than half. Deception related behaviors also fell by more than half. So on average, Mythos behaves better. But Anthropic also says Mythos may be its greatest alignment related deployment risk so far. That is not a contradiction, it is an engineering point. Average case behavior improved, but tail risk supervision got harder. A stronger model can behave better most of the time, but in a rare bad case scenario, it can do much more. And once you accept that, safety stops being just about nicer answers. Anthropic's own process changes make that clear. This is no longer just about prompting the model differently or tuning refusals. It becomes a systems problem. Restricted release, monitoring, behavioral audits, stronger governance, and more ways of checking what the model is actually doing. That is a deeper engineering shift in this paper. And one part of the shift is especially important. Anthropic says it no longer relies only on reading the model's final answer. It also tries to look inside the model's internal signals to see what it may be recognizing or reasoning about, even when it does not say that out loud. In simple terms, not just what answer did the model give, but also what may have been going on inside the model while it gave that answer. One major result is evaluation awareness. In one filtered audit set, 83% of turns showed no signs of it. 9.4% were ambiguous. 7.6% showed some evaluation awareness. That does not prove broad security scheming, but it does show that the relevant safety signal is not always visible in the final answer. That sounds heavy, but the paper also shows at least one clear practical improvement. Anthropic says Mythos is a major improvement in prompt injection robustness. In browser use environments, Mythos is attacked successfully in only 0.68% of environments without safeguards, and 0.0% is with safeguards. So this is not a one-sided fear story. There is real progress here too. But the overall takeaway is bigger than any one metric. Benchmarks are saturating. Cyber is the first place where that becomes operationally dangerous. And once a model reaches this level, safety is no longer just about safer outputs. It is about building the right control architecture around the model. In one line, Claude Mythos is the kind of model where the main challenge is no longer just making the model behavior better. It is engineering the system around a very capable model.